Instructional Rounds, a collaborative exercise in teacher reflection. Highline Community School, Cherry Creek School District, Colorado.
Well, we go in and observe various instructional practices within different classrooms and hopefully gain insight and can take things back to our classroom to kind of tweak it.
And the collaboration after, I think, is the most powerful. I think we had a lot of really great discussions afterwards.
I think just seeing the best practices used by our colleagues and see how children are really, really engaged as that sense of community is built.
I'm always looking for new ways to engage my students, and I'm always just amazed and so impressed when I watch my colleagues teach. I always come back with new ideas.
I think too it's that reflective piece. So often during the day I don't feel like I have a lot of time to really think and to slow down, and the instructional rounds are that time to really reflect. I also think during instructional rounds you feel vulnerable and you make yourself vulnerable, and then in turn you become closer with the people that you have been vulnerable with, your colleagues, your teammates. And I think that's when a lot of growth can really happen. You have to let your guard down and be open to the things you see and hear.
I think it's also great to see the potential of kids, when you're in the classroom, to see what their potential is and to see what different teachers can bring out of, a group of students, and just reminded of how high and how great they can actually go.
I know for myself, I want to be able to kind of go and identify what we've been learning about and talking about in the discourse we've been having, and go in and kind of name it for my own self, and have that appreciative inquiry of what can I take away from this for myself, and where can I see it applying to my own practice.
We model this in this way with the pre-brief, the observation, and the debrief, so that we can have a sense directly from the teacher whose classroom we're visiting of what it is we'll be seeing. So it's really important for us to have the opportunity to level set that lens. We're not going in looking at everything under the sun. This gives us the opportunity to be more pointed, more specific in terms of what we're looking at, how we're naming these elements of good practice. This is a reflective exercise.
So I went into this year really focusing on community and how a commitment to a sense of community could help me leverage that rigor and engagement in the classroom. So whenever planning, I always have my little sheet out, and my question for me is, how am I using these relationships to leverage the instruction? You guys are basically just going to see me pulling fluency groups and guided reading groups, word work groups, and it stems from a level 38 to a level 6.
So the objective is, on Friday, we're working on fractions, and so we're building from fractions to go to equivalent fractions, and so we did it with the area model, and we started with just 1/3, and then broke it into 1/3 is equivalent to 3/9 by breaking it down. So today what we're going to do is we're now going to take it a step further. We're still going to have that area model, but now we're going to do 3/4 and break those 3 pieces into 3 more pieces and see if they can also break that into it. And so eventually being able to do more than a whole. So if you see the whole lesson will go from a small, 3/4, but then getting to let's say 5/3, so that they're able to see that this is the whole plus 2 more, and then break that into 10/6. The other thing that we'll be doing is really adding and multiplying fractions. So being able to see, it's not quite where we're there in 5th grade, but you can see that transition of how we get them to that level, and so that we'll be asked to do member sentences within that, and so that's adding the fractions and multiplying the fractions.
All right,
I got a tough book for you today. Are you up for the challenge?
No.
You up for it, Jeremiah?
No.
You're not.
Suck, yeah, I am. I am.
You're reminding me I need to put on my read.
Wait.
All right. So today we are reading One Day, Two Stars. Okay? Now, just like we do with every book, we always make predictions. Who can tell me what a prediction is again? Adeline.
A prediction is like when you think what might happen in the story.
Yeah, it's a guess of what might happen. Do you have anything to add, Samuel?
I was about to say it was a guess.
It's a guess. Okay. All right. So what we are going to do is I'm going to make it hard for you, and we are going to only read page 1.
No.
And page 1 doesn't have very many words on it, so you're really going to have to think. Wait. I love how you're anxious to get in there and read. Remember. I'm going to wait. I want you guys, remember, good readers always think about the title and really, really look at the cover of your book to think about what's happening. Okay? All right, so what's the title?
One Day, Two Stars.
One Day, Two Stars. Joshua, are you thinking about what's on the cover of your book?
I'm thinking that there's like a ceremony.
A ceremony. I love that word. That's a 5th grade word, ceremony. Do you guys agree that this might be a ceremony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a birthday.
Yeah. Dusty, I'm proud of you for working hard, buddy. Good job. All right. So, first page and then close your book, okay? Ready? Begin.
A number sentence, don't I? Compose a number sentence with your partner. Go.
Okay.
Both in addition and multiplication, please.
Okay. So be 3/4 is equal to wait 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 3/4 equals 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 equals 6/8.
6 times 1/8. Booyah.
3/4 equals 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. And 3/4 equals 6. Oh no, it's ripping. 1/8 equals 3/4.
Keep talking to her, Joseph. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
3/4 equals 3 times. I mean no. 6 times 1/8.
I feel like I have to catch myself.
I noticed, some students have computers, a few of them were using computers, and it was very apparent that they all kind of knew that everybody, had different things that they needed or what, and even the smallest thing when you gave Josiah's that big pen, he was he had his head under the desk, and you're like, I think you need a special, like you grabbed him a pen, and then he was all about it. So just those, once he had a cube chair and a chart paper, and they all kind of were accessing their, maybe not special ed accommodations, but just accommodations for that.
Yeah, I just tweeted that out. My tweet was, sometimes you're so engaged, a normal size pen just won't get it.
What about, I noticed that they are so supportive of each other and helping each other and answering questions, but they're also very good about not doing the work for you. Or even Adeline said, I can't read this word, and Selena's like, well, sound it out, use your strategies. I mean, they're giving each other the strategies as opposed to kind of telling each other what to do or writing a word for them if they say, how do you spell this?
Practice that language. That's kind of what I think there were a couple of us around for. It was just so funny. I actually started like trying to catch myself because I was going to get the giggle so bad. But I was watching Joshua, and he finished his reading, and you have those kids that you just know that you can tell them these because you were so explicit with the directions. And I watched him finish his reading, and he's like, done. And he looked up, you could see this blank look on his face. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But he didn't. He just immediately turned to Itsel and was like, what are we supposed to do now? And she's like, and this, I thought this really showed engagement because they stayed on the task, but also rigor because of their understanding of the thinking maps. I thought was really cool. But so she explains you need 2 bubble maps, one for Tony and one for the parents. And then he goes, 2 bubble maps next to each other? I think that's a double bubble. And she goes, no. And that's all she said. She didn't say anything, but she was just like, no, I know what I was like. And he goes, no, two right side by side, that's a double bubble. No. And she just kind of like stuck with it. And she's like, one for Tony, one for the parents. And he goes, okay. And then he goes around to Preston because you could tell he just was like, this just sounds like a double bubble. And what are you supposed to do? And he's like, Itsel just told you. That's all. You know, and he goes, and finally he goes, and you could even kind of see him like talking with himself as he's like sitting down getting started, like, 2 bubble maps. But he, you know, so he finally figured out what he needed to do and understood I just was like, it was so funny, but so like really shows that there's like perseverance too.
I was hanging out kind of at that back table. I think Joseph was the one that I kind of was hovering over because everything seemed like it was a mess in his paper. And yeah, he was asking, why are you doing it that way? Why are you doing it that way? The other kids were doing it a little different than you showed, like step by step instead of all in one. So his paper was an absolute mess. And by the end of it, when you had them exchange books, he was able to verbalize, oh, that's 8/16. Like that, just like straight up. Where the whole time I thought he was completely lost. So he was following along, and it was just, I think maybe you spoke about him earlier. I was assuming the one that you're glad we have a full 45 minutes, so we could see that, because he just seemed like he was lost, and you didn't help him when you came over the table, and it was interesting to watch and process everything.
Who's the young lady sitting across from him?
That's Jessica.
Okay, so Joseph and Jessica had a couple of interesting exchanges.
They were going back and forth.
I love those exchanges.
I believe arguing was my word that I put on there.
What was that?
I believe arguing is what I put on there.
Oh, was it over the?
Yeah, they were going back and forth. I also heard Joseph say, let's do it Edgar's way. And so Edgar would explain what it was. Well, why'd you do it that way? And so he'd explain. And, well, why does that show it better? So he'd explain, oh, okay. And that was the same interaction.
And Jessica, too, at one point said, I did it a different way. Yeah. This is a great way to, that's what you'd love to hear.